that we can move ahead to next topic.
Yeah, sure.
The next topic is, okay, now you graduate,
Mhm.
no matter after the pre-COVID time or after COVID, downtime. Now you go to college, and now it has been around 3 years. So the first question is that how do you describe the overall atmosphere in this campus you are studying now? How you feel?
Yeah. So being at UW Bothell and kind of going to a commuter campus, I think,
and it's a very small campus.
Yes. And it's small. I feel like smaller in some aspects when I first got there than to my high school in certain ways. It was weird because I would go in there. My initial perception of everything and being a first year was that I was very mature, more mature than a lot of my peers, and that really kind of took me aback. I was like kind of slightly appalled. I was like, dude, come on, I spent like 4 years learning how to be patient with people and like accepting immaturity. And I was like, I come to college and I'm like, man, like I'm ready to face something bigger than me, and then I come and it's like kind of this weird like sheltered environment.
Then you find that people around you are still pretty naive, right?
Yes. And that actually bugged me a lot for the longest time, Barack.
Okay.
I would be very like annoyed at their naivety, but I've learned to accept people's naivety and actually care for it in the future, But I think when I first got to college, I was like, okay, this is an academic setting and this is a more adult place, but
you regard it as a new world.
Oh yeah, like I came in there with a fresh slate, like a clean slate, and a lot of people do, right? But I really went in there like clean slate, like I redefined myself, like since nobody knew me, I was just
a new start, a new journey.
Yeah, new journey. And here's the thing, the second part of my high school experience was so heavy on me. Like it impacted how I viewed relationships, friendships, and such. I came into college very cautious, very aware, very like analytical of people. So much so that I would actually be a little bit fearful of it. But I was never that afraid to not confront it. But I definitely came into that environment very ready to handle more than I actually had to,
And the interesting thing, the last 2 years of your high school, basically it's a bad experience. Yeah. It's more bad experience than good experience. But on the other hand, that 2 years make you more mature.
Oh yes, and it taught me how to love.
Exactly, because only when you are not loved, then you understand what is love. If you are loved all the time, I assume you won't know what is love because you take it for granted.
Right.
And when you suddenly, right, just as you said, you are accused by peers, you are isolated by peers, then you feel how precious the love people give to you.
Yeah. And it's interesting, Barack, because I thought I knew that when I first got into my first year. I thought I knew how to love people.
First year in high school or first year in college?
College.
Okay.
And I was like, I thought I knew what that was until someone actually genuinely loved me in a way that I'd never experienced before. And that changed me, like it took all my experiences, it took all my perceptions, and it flipped it upside down and made it something better, And I think I was mature, but I wasn't ready to experience love. It just hit me, And Alyssa, right?
I know that.
Yeah. And my friendship with her was very impactful to me in terms of how
you know each other in crew or in some other culture?
I joined my first year of college then in crew, so definitely like from the start, there was a desire for Christian community, but my friendship with her impacted so much of how I further impact and be friends with other people, even how I'm friends with you, actually.
Yeah, I believe.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I think that because I think that naturally boys are not so, sensitive
Right.
as girls
That's
about those very subtle emotion, including love. And a romantic relationship, a romantic relationship, most of the time,
Yeah.
it's a very good lesson for boys to
Oh,
know
yeah.
what is love, how to love people around you. So I totally get your point.
Yeah.
From romantic relationship, you get some, reflection and also influence how you love your friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, I believe.
And I think that in coming into that space already mature enough to say, okay, I want to actually be friends, with, either the opposite gender or the same, I remember that in choosing real friendship and choosing a selfless kind of love, a love that is not taking, I learned so much, Barack, so much that I don't even know the impacts of it, like I do, but I can imagine that the impact from then will completely come to the future, and so.
Yeah, but I believe it will have a very long-term, persistent impact on you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this is just 3 years in high school, and you still have so long journey ahead of you, and you will learn more.
Yeah.
That's the most fascinating part of hope, right? You have more, you believe that something much bigger, good is waiting behind of you.
Oh yeah.
The next question about it is that, so because I know you start work part-time since first year or second year?
For sure.
First year.
Yeah.
I think that maybe not every student work part-time from first year, and it has been 2 or 3 years. So how does those internship, part-time job, and even networking, you just did some networking today, how those things influence, a lot of your mindset? Because the first part we talk about is more like, the environment, the student connect activity, but the job is
it's different.
Networking is also with someone, tens of years older than you.
Yeah.
So how's that part?
Well, I think I have to say it's intertwined with faith in the way I look at faith, because I know a lot of people who heavily invested in career early on into college.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm gonna go to this internship, or I'm gonna go network.
Yeah.
Myself.
Start from the first year.
Yeah.
I know that.
And I think like I was very conscious to be aware of not falling into the trap of being worried or anxious or fearful of not getting an opportunity, I think from the start in having my part-time job was a blessing from God. I think I was provided not only finances, but also like a stability that I don't think very many people have, and the fact that my job was very simple in caretaking for an older individual was simple because, well, I didn't really do much caretaking at the start. And so I was really just focused on being at the job.
So the take care of the elder people is your first job.
Yes, technically.
But you are still do that now, right?
Yeah.
So it has been 2 or 3 years. The same people or?
Same. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I guess that you must build some kind of relationship.
Oh, yeah. Like the people I was networking with, they work for my boss. So it's just kind of this. He has a whole network thing, but of people, which is really interesting, Barack, because I've met a lot of his network in different places. And
that's some benefits you never think about before you start this job.
Right. I was so fearful of my job, this little job that I had that I did. I always had the hope that, okay, maybe one day I'll network and I'll go meet people and I'll actually like go different places. But that, like at the start, I was just like, that was just hope. But I stayed there because I had that hope, that faith in saying this will carry me forward, because personally, Barack, I think like I could have survived college without this job, although I probably wouldn't have had nice clothes or whatever, but for those who don't know, I like to have nice clothes, but, but yeah, I think like was a decision that that impacts me, because this job ultimately gave a sense of confidence in me, but also made me not worry so much.
And also, I think that what's the age of your boss? 70?
78.
Got you. So you see, he lived more than half a century than you, and in your communication, even just the daily conversation, right? And or sometimes you have some, some doubts in your life. Maybe your conversation with him can give you some inspiration, some insights.
Oh yeah.
That's something more valuable than the salary.
The stories that I hear, Barack, are so unique.
Of course.
But it's hard. And my boss is a very timid, very quiet man, very stoic. And it's hard to get a story out of him. But when I do, I'll tell you, Barack, like, you can feel history. You can, like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I interview a friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's 93 years old this year.
Was he a veteran, right? Or no?
No. His name, he's a dad of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's 93 years old.
That's
wow. Yeah, you can listen to his experience when he joined the South Korea, the Korea War. So it's in history book.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that it's really a precious experience for you to have this job.
Oh yeah, and I think Barack, this job allowed me to see the world in so many new, like in
new dimensions.
Yes, like a fourth dimension.
Yeah.
I will say that the places that I am in are very unique, very wealthy places, very posh, very, it's got its own culture. I don't want to say that, I was indulged into rich people culture, but I got to see it. I got to feel it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like I knew from growing up what hard work and being kind of, not, I wouldn't say poor, but struggling. I know what that's like. And then seeing wealth and going to school, I think like I had so much perspective going in already. So
yeah. Because I totally agree, because people in different environment, poverty and wealthy is just what we see.
Mm-hmm.
But internally, it deeply shape how people think, people's mindset. And that's something, it's invisible. Only when you get along in that environment that you have some sense, okay, they think in this way. And those mindset may give you some inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's very interesting part. The last question about the college life is that through the 3 years college journey, do you think that what's your personal growth or personal change? How the Owen today different as the Owen who just graduated from high school?
I can say so much it's practically unrecognizable. But
what's the most important things change?
I think it's really for me it's actually a really simple thing. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of life. I'm not scared of the things around me anymore. I used to
kind of confidence.
Yeah, I grew in so much confidence. I think I'm still working on my own confidence in a lot of ways, but I think the person who I was, actually, let me think about it for a second, because
it means it's a hard question.
It is a hard question because I want to describe it accurately.
Exactly.
Because I can say, I was less anxious or more confident, but what does that mean? It's like
this interview is really hard, right?
It's actually, I'm having a lot of fun actually. But
because imagine if you get a time machine, right? You can talk to the Owen 3 years ago.
Right.
What picture you can describe to him? right? You can say, hey, Owen,
Yeah,
3 years later, you will become such a person.
right. You'll become such a person that you won't be afraid to talk to people. You won't be afraid to talk to girls. You won't be afraid to like take on challenges. You'll be, confident enough and have so much faith in God that you won't need to rely on the world around you, but you can just, be free to live with him, that's actually one thing that I've grown a lot in. It's faith, faith, Barack, and my faith has grown so much. And if I were to stand in front of me 3 years ago, I think he'd be genuinely like awe-inspired because I feel like I'm gonna try to describe it. I'm a verbal processor with this one, but I can picture now, like right now in my own life, I can have faith even in the most driest of circumstances, right? And I think for Owen from 3 years ago, could never imagine having so much faith in a place where you genuinely are so blindfolded to the future that you just have to trust. I think 3 years ago, me would be scared crapless. Like he'd be so, like he just wouldn't believe, if he heard.
Yeah. I think that Phil, it's a saying we talk a lot tonight, right? Even just now before we have this interview, we also talk about the film.
Mhm.
Then okay, when you look back, right,
Mhm.
the confidence, the faith you get.
Right.
Let me clarify. When you say faith,
Mhm.
it specifically mean the faith on God, or it also more general faith you are talking about, a faith on life, a faith on future.
I think intertwined, because I think they're both the same. I think when I think of faith in God, I think of a life with God. My life cannot be without God. It has to be, this
They are one thing.
one thing. They're one life.
But they cannot separate
Right.
with each other.
Because one needs the other, in my opinion, or in my experiences in life. I can't live a successful life without my meaning, without my purpose.
Got you. Makes sense. And imagine, okay, so you still have one and a half years in college, and maybe you will go to graduate school, whatever.
Right.
For the remaining college, you haven't finished your college, so you haven't done graduation ceremony, haven't come. So, what's your expectation? What you are looking for? Which part you want to grow more in your remaining college journey?
Intentionality. I think I need to grow in giving to people in a different way. I think like from my time as being the first year to now, I've grown in leadership, in guiding people.
I think especially in crew.
Yeah, and being a student leader there and kind of like engaging in these relationships and stuff. And one thing that I genuinely want to hope for next year is that I can be a strong leader, or like or setting myself up to be an even stronger leader in the future.
What's the difference between a leader and a strong leader?
A leader is someone who can engage with people and actually, like move people, But a strong leader is someone who, in my opinion, is wise. Solomon from the Bible, he's a very wise king, very wise person. And I think a strong leader needs to be wise, and I think you can be a leader and be not wise or whatever, but I don't know. I think the difference really would be
Or I can put it in this way.
Yeah.
Do you think what is leadership?
Leadership is not a title. It's not. It's not a.
I agree.
Not to say that.
I agree.
But more like, I think of leadership as merely serving people. And I think to be a strong leader, you just need to know how to serve people, And I think when we get stronger and grow bigger and mature more, we learn how to not to serve ourselves, but to really understand what it means to serve our neighbor, our brother, our friend, our sister, whoever.
I can, when we when you say serve, I think at least several things. The first thing, you must identify what's their need.
Exactly.
You cannot serve a person without, for example, if you say you want water, then I give you Coke.
Give you. Oh, thank you for kind of helping.
But maybe you just want water, right? And then how to serve is that, okay, now I know your need, how I serve it properly in a way you feel comfortable. Then it's also a lot of you need to pay a lot of attention
and humility.
Exactly, humanity.
And that's something you got to work in, or I have to work in
Me you.
Yeah, and like humility is tough. Because I think for a person like me, I'm very. I wouldn't say I'm a humble person all the time, but I can say that I'm
most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time, and so it's like sometimes I have this preconception that I am a listener, I am humble, and then sometimes I don't realize the places where I am being prideful. And I feel like in the next year, I hope that God will hopefully reveal those things to me, but I also think, there are just so many trials that I have to go through, which is not a bad thing.
Sure. For you, for everyone.
Right. And I'm excited to see the results of that.
I believe so. And I believe that you will have more, possibility ahead of you. Okay, the next topic is also, I think,